One of the most serious news stories of the last couple of years, at least in the international sphere, has been the alleged use of chemical weapons by the Syrian government. Now, it has long been disputed, this claim, that it has actually been the rebels in the country, the ones that are being backed by the United States and other imperialist powers, are the ones who actually use them. And in many cases, people from organizations such as Swedish Doctors for Human Rights have announced that the footage used for alleged medical care given by the White Helmets and other U.S. puppet groups affiliated with Al-Qaeda was actually not medical treatment at all. In fact, would have killed the patients had they actually still been alive. The main example of this has been the needle to the heart on a baby, which the organization says would clearly have to have been dead before the procedure was even done. Well, now, over time, there has been several people who have left the organization or spoken out against the organization, saying that the investigation into whether or not Syria has used chemical weapons from the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons have said that evidence was faked, or that evidence that contradicted the official narrative was deliberately left out of investigations. There's all kinds of accusations that have been made along those lines. Now, 5 former officials of the OPCW have joined a group of prominent signatories to demand the OPCW address the irregularities within their investigation summaries or their official statements after the investigations about the Duma chemical attack, the supposed chemical attack in Duma in April of 2018. Now, leaks from inside the OPCW say that very important information was actually omitted, like things the investigators found, brought this data back, and then the data was intentionally left out of the final report because it would contradict the narrative that the Western powers want to make it look like the Assad government had carried out those attacks. Now, what they've done is they've gotten together and signed a statement of concern. 5 of the officials, including the organization's founder, Jose Bustani, including other well-known academics such as Noam Chomsky, Daniel Eisenberg, Colonel Lawrence Wilkinson, Tulsi Gabbard, John Pilger, and Lord West of Splithead, as well as 2 former senior UN officials, Dennis Halliday and Hans von Spoonek. The report says the issue at hand threatens to severely damage the reputation and credibility of the OPCW and undermine its vital role in the pursuit of international peace and security. It is simply not tenable for a scientific organization such as the OPCW to refuse to respond openly to criticisms and concerns of its own scientists, which is being associated with attempts to discredit and smear those scientists. Now, several of those individuals who have been very critical, the ones inside the organization itself, some of the very investigators who went and looked at these claims, have gone out into the media and spoken about it, particularly on the BBC, and then proceeded to be smeared by the BBC and the OPCW itself. Apparently, they think that their own investigators are incompetent and no good, yet somehow they rely on the investigation that they did. I mean, there's a great deal of, inconsistencies within the official story of the OPCW. For instance, there's one particularly with the organization where a supposed chlorine gas canister apparently fell into an apartment from being shot or dropped by a plane, but for some reason never went through the roof. And this is a very large canister, like the size of a bed. Apparently it just materialized in there. So there's a great deal of inconsistencies going on. And the Western media, or particularly the imperialist media, which does not just include the West, but many in the East as well, are deliberately looking the other way on the individuals inside the organization who have now left it, showing that there have been massive irregularities and that this alleged chemical attack, used as a justification for the bombing of Syria, has been fraudulent. What was used as a justification for the U.S. firing into Syria and killing some Russian soldiers, actually, was completely based on a lie. And the mainstream media, in its infinite wisdom, has decided to just completely ignore this. And it shows more of why we may get this dichotomy of conservative versus liberal inside of the media, Republican versus Democrat, when it comes down to the issues that both sides, which are essentially a part of, and that being the imperialist war machine. The mainstream media will deliberately lie in favor of the profits of the capitalist class, which seek to expand, overcome limitations, etc. The whole point of imperialist war being the highest stage of capitalism, monopoly, capital, etc. So it's very important to call out the mainstream media on this, and that they have knowingly lied by omission, leaving out information, and attempting to discredit those who would hold the liars accountable for the lies that they create. Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.